they're the ones to suffer from any consequence of that struggle. Jail time, they're going to have their house invaded at night, they're going to have, they're going to go to jail mostly. We all have a lot to gain from the occupation. If the occupation will end, I might be able to live in a society that I want to live in, that isn't segregated. If the struggle fails, they're the ones to suffer from from all of the consequences, and they're going to get it a lot harder than me. They're going to get killed. I might go to jail. When I was about 14, I became more and more politically aware. I began to radicalize myself. I realized that it's about time to radicalize myself, and I talked to someone, and I was like a moderate lefty. This is how I was raised. I didn't know too much. I thought, okay, I can be in the army and still be a lefty. I can try and help Palestinians. I don't believe that every Palestinian is a terrorist, but they did vote for the Hamas, or some of them are terrorists. You know, I didn't think of the IDF as a terror organization. When I was 14, I talked to a friend, and his brother is one of the people who went to jail for 2 years for refusing to serve in the army, and I realized, okay, it makes sense. And when I was 18, I refused to serve in the army. That's when basically I began to take action. I wasn't still active in the West Bank, but I began to rethink about it, and I began to say, okay, I want to do something about it. I want to resist this. I want to resist the draft. And when I was 18, I was lucky enough to be able to do that. Basically, there are 3 ways of getting out of the army in Israel. If someone will tell you, oh, I'm Israeli, so I serve, that we have to serve, therefore I'm not, like, I wasn't a terrorist, tell them it's bullshit. It's very easy to get out of the army. What's hard is to become politically aware. Basically, we have all of our society and all of the media telling us that everything we do makes us self-hating Jews. Which isn't as bad as, I suppose, calling a human rights activist here an anti-Semite, but still, it's not the most comfortable position either. So when I was 18, I refused to serve, and there are 3 ways of getting out of the army. One is saying I'm a political objector, which means I do not want to serve because of the occupation. I want you to know it, I want the rest of the world to know it, I want to receive media coverage for that. And I want to convince other people to look at what's happening in Palestine. A lot of the people in Anarchists Against the Wall did serve, but a lot of us didn't. Some, just after they finished their service, realized this is fucked up. I do not want to help the occupation anymore. So yeah, some people have chose that way. The second way is conscientious objector. Conscientious objector means the same as here. You sit in front of a committee, they try to humiliate you. If you're persistent enough, they end up releasing you. The third way is what I did. It's 1-on-1 profile, which means mental inability to serve in the IDF. Or in other words, I object to the occupation. Just a few ways of saying that. The Apartheid road, it was declared illegal by the Israeli Supreme Court, or a court that is higher than the Supreme Court in Israel. We have one. And basically they declared it illegal, and they told them they told the government you have to open the road for Palestinians because it was built in the 67 occupied territories. What they did is they opened a part of the road that leads from nowhere to nowhere. So I don't know if it's now an apartheid road or not. Okay, this is Hebron, if I'm not mistaken, Hebron. Basically, Hebron is a city, and it was cut in 2. Now the settlers live in a really large part of Hebron, the Jewish settlers. It's in the 67 occupied territories, and the settlers are only a few hundreds of them. There are only a few hundreds of them who live in most of Hebron. And the Palestinians, well, most of the people living in Hebron live on a smaller part in the city. And that's, before they build the wall, they start by putting blockades in the village. So basically the Palestinians won't be able to approach their own land. Palestinians again, human blockades, I suppose, preventing Palestinians from going wherever they need to go. Okay, what the settlers do is they take control over a Palestinian home. If the Palestinians didn't pay some kind of a fine that the court decided that they have to pay, they take the kids and they give them to settlers. The settlers take control over the house, and they put a bunch of Israeli flags on the house. Now, I think if I was a Palestinian, that would be the most awful thing to watch every day. You know, they have to cross through those and see the flags, and those flags for the settlers might mean a Jewish land and some place that they feel safe in. For the Palestinians, all that symbol is oppression and apartheid. Obviously, taking in the Palestinian land and giving it to settlers, they have to destroy the trees in order to do that, and build their own big yards. A watchtower. Basically, IDF soldiers are in those watchtower, and they look at everything that the Palestinians make. A soldier in Palestinian home. Road blockades. Like I said, the IDF decides whenever they want, we want to block you from exiting or entering a village, and they go ahead and do that. And you can see the difference between an Israeli road and Palestinian road. It isn't really a road, it's just, I don't know. People waiting in checkpoints sometimes to get into their jobs.
Keep going.
Yeah. A checkpoint on an average day, people waiting for many, many hours in order to cross and get somewhere. This is the Apartheid wall, and these are people trying to cross the Apartheid wall to get somewhere. Actually, the only time I feel hopeful about the situation in Palestine isn't when I look at the wall, but when I'm in the West Bank. It's seeing the popular struggle there, seeing how much people have hope and they have to go through what they have to go through every single day. I force myself to be optimistic about ending the occupation when I'm there. Anyway, I have to, because I see Palestinians who have so much more to lose, being optimistic. Okay, when Palestinians get arrested in Israelis, it's not just the amount of time we spend in jail that is different. Also the way that they treat us. For example, I don't know how many times I've been arrested, or detained, but I was only handcuffed with zip ties once. And no one ever put a piece of fabric on my eyes so I wouldn't be able to see. It just shows you how much they're not afraid that I'm like a security risk, and yet they arrest us anyway. And I never remember something, even if I was, even if I did want to destroy, kill all of the Israeli citizens, which I don't, there would be nothing I've ever seen while I was being detained could ever help me do that. Neither has the Palestinians, and yet they get their eyes covered, so they won't be able to see, and they wouldn't try to run away from an arrest. No one will. It's silly. They will catch you in a heartbeat. And yet, I think it's more about humiliating you. It is more about humiliating you than thinking you're a security risk. Obviously, Palestinians going out with their shopping bags or whatever, and they're being checked. Probably, I'm assuming that's a lot of their houses are being demolished quite often. This is probably what they took out of their houses as they had to see the bulldozer destroying their homes, which is one of the, besides people being injured, that's one of the toughest things you'll have to you'll have to see if you'll come to the West Bank.